This is Mindfulness with Richard Clarke. Welcome. And this is focused on mindfulness meditation. So listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. So it's good to see you here. Let me adjust my screen and then today we have been exploring several advanced aspects of mindfulness practice, including cultivating equanimity, which we dealt with last week, and dealing with difficult emotions, which is this week. In following weeks, we'll be exploring impermanence, deepening concentration, developing witness consciousness, and applying mindfulness in everyday life. In today's session, we'll explore how to deal with difficult emotions, and we'll learn techniques for recognizing and responding to challenging emotions in a skillful and constructive way, rather than becoming overwhelmed or reactive. Dealing with difficult emotions can be challenging and an overwhelming experience. But with mindfulness techniques, we can learn to recognize and respond to these emotions in a skillful and constructive way. Recognize and respond. Recognize and redirect your attention in a more constructive way. Mindfulness helps us cultivate a non-judgmental awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and body sensations. This allows us to develop a more compassionate and accepting relationship with ourselves, which can be especially helpful when dealing with challenging emotions. The first step in dealing with difficult emotions is to recognize them. Often we may try to avoid or ignore our emotions, especially if they're not comfortable. This only leads to more suffering. Mindfulness teaches us to become more aware of our emotions as they arise, without judgment or resistance. By simply noticing and acknowledging the presence of a difficult emotion, we can begin to create space for it rather than becoming overwhelmed or reactive. Once we've recognized the difficult emotion, the next step is to respond to it skillfully. This involves learning how to stay present with the emotion or feeling rather than getting caught up in our thoughts or reactions. Don't run away from it. Like with other things, the way out is through it, not to avoid it. One technique for doing this is to start by bringing our attention to the physical sensations in our body that are associated with the emotions. If you look, all of these emotions have a physical component. For example, if we're feeling anxious, we may notice tension in our chest or stomach. By focusing attention on these physical sensations, we begin to create a sense of grounding and stability. We get to know them better, which can calm our mind and reduce the intensity of the emotion. This also helps to break the habit which associates the body sensation with the negative emotion. This association is just a habit. We can change our habits. This starts with noticing it. One of the challenges in dealing with difficult emotions is they can also be accompanied by strong physical sensations. For example, the tightness in your chest and the racing thoughts, while anger may be accompanied by a sensation of heat and tension in the body. When these physical sensations are especially intense, it can be difficult to stay present with the emotion and respond in a skillful way. One technique in this case that can be helpful is to focus on the breath by bringing our attention to the feelings of the breath in the body. We create a sense of stability and grounding that helps us open to the emotion or feeling without becoming overwhelmed. This can help reduce the intensity of the physical sensations associated with the emotion. Another technique for responding skillfully to difficult emotions is to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness, care, and understanding that we would offer to a good friend who is struggling. This can be especially helpful when dealing with emotions such as shame or guilt, which are often accompanied by self-critical thoughts. By practicing self-compassion, we learn to acknowledge our mistakes and shortcomings without judgment or self-blame. This helps us move through difficult emotions with greater ease. So be kind to yourself. Mindfulness also teaches us to develop a sense of curiosity and openness towards our emotions. Rather than seeing difficult emotions as something to be avoided or eliminated, we can learn to approach them with a sense of curiosity and interest. What's going on here? By exploring our emotions in this way, we get to know them better. We gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our patterns of behavior, which helps us make more skillful choices in the future. One key aspect of mindfulness that can be particularly helpful dealing with difficult emotions is the practice of non-judgment. Often, when we experience challenging emotions, we can become judgmental or critical of ourselves. For example, if we feel sad, we may tell ourselves that we shouldn't be feeling this way, or we should just be able to snap out of it. This kind of self-judgment only serves to increase our suffering and can make it more difficult to navigate the emotion in a skillful way. Self-judgment is like when in the cartoon Pogo says, "We have met the enemy and it is us." Instead, mindfulness encourages us to adopt an attitude of non-judgment towards our thoughts and emotions. Rather than trying to push them away and label them as good or bad, we can simply observe them with a sense of curiosity and openness. This creates space for the emotion and allows us to respond in a more skillful way. Simply observe without reaction. This is basic mindfulness technique. Another technique that can be helpful with dealing with emotions is a kind of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry involves asking ourselves questions about the emotion and exploring it more deeply. For example, if we're feeling angry, we might ask ourselves, what is the source of this anger? What triggered it? How does it feel in my body? By exploring the emotion like this, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and can develop more skillful ways to respond. Finally, it's important to remember that dealing with difficult emotions is an ongoing process. We won't ever completely eliminate difficult emotions from our lives, but with mindfulness, we can learn to relate to them in a more skillful and constructive way. With a regular mindfulness practice, we develop the tools and resources we need to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater ease and resilience. Dealing with difficult emotions can be challenging, but with mindfulness techniques, we learn to recognize and respond to these emotions in a skillful and constructive way. By cultivating a non-judgmental awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and body sensations, we can learn to stay present with our emotions rather than becoming overwhelmed or reactive. By practicing self-compassion and cultivating curiosity and openness towards our emotions, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our patterns of behavior. This can help us make more skillful choices in the future. Our regular mindfulness practice helps us develop the tools and resources we need to navigate the ups and downs with ease and resilience. So meditate, keep meditating. Now, how about you guys? Barley, how has your meditation been in the last week?
Well, I keep trying to meditate. I will say that. I certainly think about it every day and find different times during the day when I can practice.
That's good. It's when you keep your attention there. And if you keep your attention there, as you have seen, you end up finding more times and ways to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I
I've,
know when I was on that trip to California, I was so distracted. I just couldn't find a time to meditate. So I guess I'll just need to practice more. So it
well, it's hard. I've
might happen.
noticed with other people that it's hard to keep up a regular practice when all of a sudden your activities become irregular, like when you're traveling.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's a fairly common phenomenon. How
Okay.
about you,
Good.
Richard?
Good. This talk, this reading that you've made here on equanimity and having a practice of meditation took me back to prior to 1996 when I never meditated and experienced reactivity and anger and jealousy and insecurity, hit all the poisons.
Yes.
And then fortunately, my life shifted and took me to my first spiritual teacher and started a meditation practice and reading the Gita and all these wonderful scriptures, if you call them that. And then progressively leading to self-inquiry, Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramakrishna. I needed a lot of help.
Yes, I think most of us do.
And through this grace of this practice, there's a lot less agitation, a lot less anger. Those great poisons have really diminished, and it's not anything that one does. Just this practice takes over.
And all those teachers really led you to learning to look within yourself for this stuff. It was what you found was not something outside that made your life better. It's something you found that was always there.
That's right, exactly. Before I found this, I mean, I thought everything was outside.
Right.
You get a new car, okay, that's going to be great. New house, new this, new that. I mean,
Right.
and it's not filling anything. There's still a feeling like something's missing until that great turn in takes place. Yeah. So meditation is a great gift and going well.
Certainly, you're describing it for me too, because before I really learned to do it, I was looking for something that I could gain that would fit myself.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Carol?
Well, steady as we go. I was reminded of a lot of years ago, but since we've been doing this teaching, since Richard and I have been doing this practice, one of the emotions which I found myself commonly having was annoyance. And I remember being annoyed at something and then able to ask myself, who is it that's annoyed? And that pretty much dissipated it. So that was a good trick for that.
And that's another example of what was said. You didn't run away from it. And you kind of started to investigate and look at it within yourself.
Yeah, it definitely separated myself from the annoyance, and that was very helpful.
Right. That's part of it. When you are taking things and looking at them non-reactively and all of that stuff, a big part of it is you are separating yourself from it. You're standing back a step. And for me, just this standing back a step is such a relief.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I read one thing that I read this morning?
Sure.
As we're talking about this, it says, you're not sad, sadness arises. You're not humble, humility arises. You're not depressed, depression arises. You're not fatigued, fatigue arises. You're not hungry, hunger happens. You're not acting, action happens. You're not thinking, thoughts happen. You are a sentient, transparent screen which cognizes the phenomena that appear on it.
Very good. Perfect. That's just exactly what we're talking about.
There, how that happened for you, Carol. That described right in there.
Absolutely.
And to me, one of the things that sometimes I reflect on is, how much people are the same. The stuff that you were talking about, Richard, in Carol and barley are all things that people have been talking about literally for thousands of years. And, the problems we have internally with our lives and stuff are the same as the people thousands of years ago. All the details of our life are different, but the challenges within ourselves are the same. Anyway, so now instead of talking about meditation, we'll try doing some meditation. Mindfulness is present moment awareness, paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, fully receive whatever is experienced, then let it go. All right. And next, we will have a video on exploring feelings.
Close your eyes and direct your attention towards your body. The purpose of this exercise is to explore sensations instead of avoiding them. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. Now try to expand your attention and notice all kinds of sensations in your body. When you feel ready, try to direct your attention towards a difficulty in your life. Something that you're going through right now. Nothing major or traumatic, but something you don't mind exploring for a little while. Perhaps an argument or a misunderstanding. Something unresolved or unpleasant. If there's nothing like that going on at the moment, maybe you can think about something that has happened to you in the past. Bring your attention to your body and explore any sensation or emotion that comes with these thoughts about your difficulty. Notice how the sensations change from moment to moment. Sometimes they're stronger, sometimes weaker. Try to focus on the part of the body where the sensations are strongest. Try to experience them with kindness and curiosity. Just observe. If you want to, you can tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. Breathe with the sensations. Let them be just as they are, without trying to change them. Let your breathing help you. Imagine that you breathe in from this part of the body where sensations are strongest, and breathe out from it on the out breath. If you notice that the sensations are too strong, or that you're getting caught up in thoughts, try to direct your full attention towards your breathing for a while. Now, end this exercise by directing your full attention on your breathing. Let go of your difficulty and focus on your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. try to explore sensations and feelings as often as possible during the rest of the day. Remember, your breathing is always there to help you. When you feel ready, slowly open your eyes and return to your session.
And now we'll do our final meditation. All right. And let us close with our chant. Om.
Shanti.
Shanti. Shanti. Shanti. Om. Peace. 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 All right. Any discussion?
I had an idea of something I was concerned about, and it went from my stomach to my chest and then into my head, and then I got a good thought in my head. So I
Huh.
had,
Uh-huh.
but it was stressing me out. But when I got to my head and I picked another thought, does that make
Uh-huh.
any sense? It worked for me.
Very good. I know for me, this connection with body sensations is something that I've noticed in myself for a long time. And one of the specific things that I've noticed are my legs. And when my legs feel bouncy, I feel good. And when my legs don't feel bouncy, I don't feel so good. And, I just translate for me this sense of energy in my legs means how good I feel. And it's funny. It's a long connection there. And it's, the body sensation that I see that I just translate to have it mean this.
So you try to take the discomfort in your legs and transfer it to something else.
Right. The discomfort in my legs, I translate into unease in myself.
Mm.
And that's how it works. We take these feelings and we translate these body feelings into emotional feelings. And this is something that everybody does. And for the most part, nobody notices. Okay. Well, thanks for joining together again, and we'll see you next week, and have good meditation.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
You want deeper meditation, more peace, more happiness. Subscribe now to continue to find ways to get more from your meditation.